everybody. Welcome back to the Moto Moves podcast. It's your host, Bianca, and I am happy to introduce another guest this year. This is my friend Janice. Say
Hi,
hi.
everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come on and share my story.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on and being willing to share your story. And I think that's what I'm most grateful for, not only your time, but the fact that you're willing to share your story with the world. Because I think that the more we share, the more people feel understood um and feel supported, even if we don't know each other, but listening to stories, I mean, for me personally, just listening to other veterans or service members that have gone through things similar to me, I think that's kind of what happened with us when we met. We had so many similarities, and it was like, oh my God, I want to hug
No,
you.
yes, I was like, definitely, where have you been? You are definitely, I felt like a sister for sure. And really just sharing support and letting others know that you're not alone is just huge. And I know you shared that previously and a lot of the things that you've shared with your audience. So I think this is such an impactful conversation, and I'm glad to have it. Again, thank you
Yes,
so much.
awesome. Thank you. Well, to start, would you like to introduce yourself and give them a little background about yourself?
Sure. So, hi everyone. I live currently in North Carolina. I am a military spouse. My husband recently retired in 2020. We've got four beautiful children, and a little bit about our situation is one of my children suffers from mental health, and this was something that I have not experienced. Um, I don't have personal experience in my own life or with another family member. And so, as a mother, definitely this was eye opening to go along with the journey and be an advocate for her throughout this process. But I found definitely um, lack of support at times as a military family moving around, PCSing to different duty stations. Um, you lose, right? We lose our support system, having to start all over again, and then feeling like, oh, you're having to navigate the mental health sphere again, trying to get care for your child. Um, and then trying to care for yourself. I mean, caring for a child, I think any parent we can agree that we would go to the ends of the earth for them. But sometimes we forget to put our own gas mask on,
Yeah.
and we need support too. And it's so important for others to know that you're not alone. And this is still a work in progress in the mental health field. Um, Sharing that. This happens and you're not alone. And I really found a lack of support for parents. And so I really do try to share my story with others to let them know that there's others out there. And these are the support systems that I found that have been helpful for us along the way. Um, so, yeah, I'm excited to share my story a little more about that.
Well, thank you for that. No,
Mhm.
I agree. I know that we've discussed before, in depth, I guess, about both our kids, and we have a lot of similarities. Although my experiences have been more on the outside of the military because
Mhm.
I was no longer in. But I do know that as a service member, even mental health services are sometimes lacking for service members.
Mhm.
And so to me, it makes sense how they would be even more lacking for family members, right? Because it's like there's not even enough to take care of the initial service member. So it's like it's a domino effect. So how do you expect them to have the capacity to care for the family? And I think sometimes the family gets overlooked and left behind, because yes, service member is important, and yes, we got to take care of them. But what about the rest of us? right?
Mhm.
Because we
Yeah.
suffer along with them and, we go through a lot of life changes, like you said, PCSing, changing scenery, the kids constantly changing schools, losing friends, um, their friends losing parents, right? Because we're this little world, this little unit, and everything that happens in the military is it's so concentrated, like that's what they live and know. And so,
Yeah.
one friend losing a parent or having their parent on deployment affects them, secondhand because they see the effects of that to their friends and so I think it's overlooked and minimized how military life I know can be beautiful and great. Like I've said a million times, I'd do it a million times over. I wouldn't give it up. This is one of the best experiences in the world, regardless the bad things that have happened, because that's life.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, life is
Things are
going to
gonna
be up and
happen.
down, right?
Yes.
But I think that there's some tough aspects of the military that we need to concentrate more to make us a more functional unit because we need to be all we have is each other, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And our children are going through all of this, and sometimes as adults, um, it's easy for us to have our blinders. We're seeing it from our perspective, and our youth definitely um, have so much going on at their fingertips, right? On social media with
Yes.
their peers. They're trying to figure out who they are, trying not to seem different, and then struggling internally with mental health, and trying a lot of times, to be quote unquote like everyone else, being pulled out for appointments and having a parent on deployment. My husband just recently returned from a deployment. So having that, one parent going through it all and trying to relate, there's just a lot of layers um, within this. And I just really want to bring awareness to other parents that are going through it. I found it really helpful that I found another parent along my journey that I could call and say, listen, I need somebody to talk to, somebody that knows what I'm going through. And now, listen, I have amazing family and friends, and they have been wonderful. And really, my biggest tip can be find somebody that, can check on you consistently if you're going
Yes.
through this journey. Find
Yeah.
somebody that you know that you can call and say, listen, I just need to talk. But what has been really the most helpful um, is a lot of people sometimes don't know how to help or what to say. I was one of those because I had never been through this experience. And finding somebody else who was going through the same experience with their child was super helpful for me because I felt like they understood. Oh, the dreaded, like, constant calls with the trying to get providers, trying to get things authorized can feel so daunting. And you just want to throw your hands up. I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was me just this week, actually. I was like, "Oh, thank God." I mean, I'm a working mama and I have a very flexible job. I'm so thankful for that because I
Yeah.
know there's so many other parents that don't, and I can't imagine. I spent a whole entire day running back and forth, calling. I ended up having to go pick up authorizations, walk it or get it back on post, walk it in because it was never being faxed in or randomly
Yes.
ended up missing in
Randomly
the
lost, sent to the wrong
right,
place. I mean,
yes,
it's crazy. It's like, this is what you guys do for a living. This is your job. How
yeah,
why can I do it better? I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
understand. But
yeah,
it's true though. It is. It's like you have to insert yourself in in everything to be able to get all the moving parts going because if you leave it up to them, like your child will it'll be detrimental,
yes.
Like, yeah, you can't just leave it to everybody else. You literally gotta jump in there and handle it yourself.
Yeah. And parents, let's talk about like the mental like strain trying to keep all the appointments on, there's so many
Yes.
different appointments, so many different people you need to see, keeping that all organized, the pickups. My daughter's medication kind of got wonky with the pickup times. And I think there was some times where I was going a few times a week to the pharmacy, like trying to keep everything organized can be a challenge. And you definitely need to find a mode of self-care for yourself.
Yeah.
And going back to needing somebody just that you can talk to sometimes, or somebody at least preferably that understands it, because they can say, I got you. Like
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
And that other parent and I, we check on each other. This is I saw another military organization post not that long ago. No, this is not a broken leg. This is not something that you bring a casserole dish to and you'll get better in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
This is
no.
an ongoing process. This is something
Mhm.
that's long term, that really affects not just your child, but everyone in the household. Everyone's dealing with it completely different.
Yeah.
Um, and again, I'm just a huge advocate for our champions who are our caregivers. Um, I really myself, I'm a perfect example. I just kept going on a full blown adrenaline. I was going to do everything in my power. I was going to try to keep it all together while my husband was working, while my husband was deployed, trying to keep him informed, trying to keep my other kids, feeling supported, because I was so focused and going all, to a million appointments and then being exhausted, but really knowing that you have to take care of yourself. I wish somebody would have, shaken
Yeah.
me back then and said, stop. Like, but again, I was navigating this all by myself. I had never gone through this before. You have no idea. And, you have no idea if this is the first time you're going through this.
No, it's true, and I think what you said was right, like, I felt like family and friends, they mean well, and they wanna be supportive, um, and I don't think they're trying to be hurtful, but they are sometimes, I know that reaching out or other people reaching out to me, when they've seen me frustrated and trying to navigate through this and get the help that, my children have needed and this and and they say silly things that it's like, "You're not helping me, right? That's not making me feel better," or like, "You think I don't know that? I know that. This is why I'm the way I am right now." Like, it's not that I don't know what I need to do, it's just that they're not helping me get to the place I need to be to do it, you know?
Mhm,
And sometimes, like I said, I know they mean well and they're trying to help, but they don't understand, because
mhm,
they've never been there and they don't know how difficult it is. And it's not only the strain of trying to get things done with a system that's kind of broken. Um, it's getting those things done in that broken system, having a sick child,
mhm,
and that's the problem, and so it's like you're splitting yourself in two because your child needs you so much because they're in such a delicate state and you just want so much to get them out of it. But in order to do that, part of you has to go this way, right? To get all of that done while still having yourself over here holding them together. And it's like nobody's helping you hold it together,
mhm.
And sometimes all those like questions and comments and stuff is like, just don't, don't.
Yeah. And I'm looking at you, friends. Those of you, I'm calling you out who don't like to ask for help, because I have several friends. So I'm pointing to you.
Yeah.
I know you're out there. I know you are out there. You really can't do this all on
Yeah.
your own.
Mhm.
Let me say, you can for a period of time, but then you are going to unfortunately hit your wall.
Mhm.
Um, And you need to ask for help for yourself too. You need to advocate for yourself throughout this process because it can be so mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
And we really need to be there for our children. And mental health for children still, I mean, we're busting at the seams in our mental health field. Like they have more patients than they have providers. The wait time is long. You're like, oh my gosh, 3 months I have to wait to get this
It's
answer, 3
unrealistic.
months, and then I
Yeah.
have to wait again another few months, like, especially for our youth. I don't know if, anybody has tried to call and they say, "Oh, I will only take children from this age to this age." But what happens if you don't, calling, finding resources, the best thing that I ever had happen was, um, finding somebody that gave me a list at least, but guess who called that list to
You.
find out, to
Yeah.
see if that because even if TRICARE sends you a list, you'll call and they'll say, "Guess what? I'm sorry, we're not taking children anymore," or
Yeah.
we're full." So, really as parents, we still have to, designate that person in your family who is going to take the lead on the phone calls, is going to take the lead on remembering the appointments, reminding you, maybe switching, taking turns. Is so like, hey, I'll go pick up the meds and you'll this week and you'll go, take them to the appointments or something. Really, that's my biggest thing I can say is really designating go-to person in your household, your family. If you're blessed enough to have, usually this, I don't know if you could have a friend. I couldn't see myself having a friend do any of that, but
Yeah.
just because
Delegate the
it's a
work.
lot. But that friend is going to be there to call you. But really doing that, and I wish somebody sat us down and had some information like that. But there is really no playbook. There's no hey, this is what you do as a parent if you're navigating this system, but really also nurturing your relationship with your spouse because this is so heavy and each person is so different and they take the situation internally so different. And it's so easy to get frustrated with the person that you're closest to, and your communication can lack during this process. But your child really needs you. And the best thing that I learned this last year was really how to communicate effectively in my needs and how together we can be a unified unit throughout this process. And I'm so thankful for that. And I will talk a little bit about my child had to unfortunately go away for a period of time, which was extremely difficult. I was the type of parent that never even let my child go away for a sleepover. I am that kind of mom. So this was massive. This was groundbreaking and shaking in my world. And but there is a facility that is for military affiliated families. You,
Okay.
if you did not retire, if you just served, you know, anybody affiliated with the military, every branch. It's located in Virginia, at Norfolk, Virginia. They're
Okay.
called the Barry Robinson Center. Um, I am very thankful for the things that my husband and I learned during our process there. Um, Things that I wish we honestly, I'm grateful for it now, but I wish those were the things that we learned early on. I think we would have been so much better off. And I heard about this by chance. There is a Facebook group for military families affected with mental health, but there's one. Can I just say that? One. How many branches do we have?
Yeah.
And there's one.
And it's just
So
one facility?
or I mean, yes, one facility and one Facebook group, and I found the facility from
Oh,
the Facebook group. Some a parent had posted, and I knew about it in the back of my head, and when it came, unfortunately, to that time where we knew, um, my child needed help greater than what we could give her, um, I remembered that resource that I had heard about, but my child's counselor did not really know about them. There is still such a and I've talked to their director, and they are trying their best to attend everything that's military affiliated to share that they are there as a resource if your child ever needs that. And they offer assistance with travel. There's families who are stationed overseas who their children are there. And they are,
Oh,
yeah, and they're a 100% bed only for military affiliated children, 11 to 17 can go there. But yeah, they help with travel expenses. They do a
that's
lot of
amazing.
military family days. Yeah. So, but the biggest thing that was so helpful for us was really learning how to communicate and be a united front and coming together because even your child that's going through this, they've never gone through this before. They're growing up, they've got hormones, they've got their peers, they've got
Yeah,
like, I'm different. What am I? They're struggling too. So coming together as a family unit and really being able to openly discuss um, your your specific situation and finding ways to effectively really communicate and it gave everyone kind of, at least my household, time to recharge ourselves, get ourselves back together. And look, residential isn't for everyone, and it works really well, and sometimes it doesn't. And
yeah,
um, oh, again, nobody knows. As a parent, you're just trying to do the best and trying everything you can to really protect your child and save your child and help them through this. And I do want to also kind of share animal therapy. If you can search for it in your area, has been super helpful for our family. We found it's been super therapeutic. I'm going to say some prayers out into the world that we get more of that. We
yeah,
know for our vets, right? Horse equine therapy has been so helpful, and it's so helpful for our youth too. So that has been really helpful. And I'm thankful that I live still currently in a community that's so heavily military, and they
yeah,
understand the challenges that our children have gone through. But as you retire or as you separate from the military, you may move back to an area that isn't that. Um, and so trying to find your community and our experiences in our military still affect us like later on in life, our family. But yeah, definitely trying to find services, just really trying to get the mental support for our parents and knowing that you're not alone and it is okay to, that you're going through this. I know it's really intimidating and really scary to share this. This is my first time publicly speaking. I have shared about this several times one on one with individuals because I want them to know about the Barry Robinson Center, about my family's story, because it does feel so isolating when you're going through it. I think I mentioned to you on a phone call before, seeing everyone's children going to prom, going to homecoming, and you're longing, your child's barely struggling to get through the day.
I know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I know. I have those feelings often. My daughter's a senior, but when she was struggling the most, I want to say freshman, sophomore year, she missed out on a lot, and she's not doing well in school. And those are things we look back, even now, she'll tell me, and she realizes what she's missed out on, and makes me sad for her because I wish she could have had more. I don't want to say normal.
I know it's so hard.
It's hard to,
Traditional or like,
yes,
yes.
but it is
Mm,
hard, and it's sad, and as a parent, you just want your kids to live their life to the max, and when they're limited, um, because of health issues, it's so
Mhm.
frustrating, and sometimes you wonder, like, "Why me?" or "Why her?" It's not fair, I just want her to be happy and do all the things, and unfortunately, it's not that way, because they're incapable or it's unsafe, and, not only for themselves, but people around them, and it's just it's difficult,
Yeah,
I do really I feel that to the
yeah,
core.
yeah. And then having to share with the school too, your child sitting there like, I don't want everyone to know about
Yes.
this. I'm so scared that my peers are going to find out about this and they're
Yes.
going to say things about me. But really, they're a part of your care team and having to be, I mean, you have to sit there and be vulnerable and share something that this is hey, my family's experiencing this and really open up and ask for support. I've been super thankful that my daughter's high school has been so accommodating for us and supportive, and they check on her, and we've made a plan forward. So really, um, I'm a big advocate for set up a meeting with your child's counselor. We always discuss being discreet with what we say because that is such a vulnerable age. At any age, really,
Yeah.
our children are going through that. Having code words, having things in place that if they need to get um, a break, they're feeling overwhelmed, that they have a safe place to go. And for the school to be understanding that some days you just can't get your child to school, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And they understand that, hey, if you send that email in to them, they know why. We're going to work together to make sure that they can make up that work. But that, I mean, that is a whole other beast and a whole
Yeah.
other layer in the onion to
Yeah.
what they're going through. But again, like I've never had to do that before. I remember sitting there crying and having to share like school's so important, but I'm just trying to honestly make sure that my daughter is here with us. Like at the end of the day, school feels like this
Yeah.
when I'm just trying to love and make sure that she knows that she's wanted here. But it is but again, it is something that's so important too. So yeah.
I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you would mind. Because I think also it's important to talk about like the signs. At least for my daughter, her so I know I told you, I think I've told everybody, but my daughter's bipolar. I think I've
Mhm.
already discussed this. So she's bipolar. And for us, it was difficult to see the signs because she already had PTSD, anxiety, depression. So from, previous trauma. And so we just kind of allotted it to that, and we thought like, "Oh, she's just more triggered or, just having an even worse time." Um, and we just kinda let it spiral, and things got really, really, really bad really fast, and it was out of control. It was chaos in here. It was like, man, it was like a battlefield in here, she was a whole different person, and we just kept trying to convince ourselves that it was that, which is hard, right? Because we already had some kind of diagnosis, right? And so we're like, okay, that's what it is. And so we were trying our best. Um, and then come to find out, finally, right, we get her diagnosed. And actually, she asked for help. She came to us and she's like, I think something's really, really wrong. And
Mhm.
we were like, yeah, it's your PTSD. And she was
Mhm.
like, no, mom, like I'm scared. There's something really wrong with me. I don't know
Mhm.
what's wrong with me. And then that was for me was like, "Oh, crap, okay." Then I was scared, and then she started telling me of, like, thoughts she was having, and I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't even know how to deal with that?" And, sure enough, she was bipolar, and I want to say she was on her medication a week and she was back to her normal self.
Mhm.
And I think to myself, like, if she would have never came to me, like what could have happened, right? But no
Yeah.
one's because people don't like to talk about it, right? People don't want to
Mhm.
put themselves out there and their kids out there, right? I didn't know. I just kept convincing myself, like, oh, it's just a little bit worse triggering, right? Like, oh, she's
Mhm.
just having a fit or whatever, right? And then she was
Yeah.
about 13, so I was like, "Oh, and hormones," and so I was trying
Add
to,
all
like,
that in.
justify all the behaviors, right? And then when, she was diagnosed and the doctor, like, explained everything to me, I felt like a bad parent for not noticing, right? And then I felt guilty, um, but I didn't know, and I didn't know anyone that was dealing with the same thing to say like, "Hey, that kinda sounds like, so and so, and I think I heard this before, and maybe it could be the." I pushed it for as long as I could, and I think she was so brave to even say anything,
Mhm.
because God knows what would have happened if she didn't. I probably would have kept thinking like she was just being a teenager and,
Yeah.
so I just think it's important to like share our experiences and the symptoms and what led to, realizing and getting a diagnosis because I think there's a lot of people going through that and they also maybe think it's not that big of a deal and you justify it with certain things, right? Certain behaviors and certain aspects of life, like, oh, this is normal, oh, she's a girl, she's going through stuff. And
Yeah.
in reality, it's way deeper than that, and I think the sooner we address it, the better, right? And so,
Yeah.
anyway, I was just wondering if you would mind
Yeah.
sharing your journey in discovering her
Sure.
diagnosis.
Sure. So looking back, right, is looking back, you definitely see the signs.
Yeah,
Going through it as a parent, the last thing you want is to really, unfortunately, during the beginning time, recognize, at least for me, I think I was in denial, thinking the same thing. It was around 12 that
okay,
my child was starting to show signs, and you're like, oh, puberty's coming. Her best friend was moving away. We were getting ready to move PCS to a new duty station. There was a lot of changes. Her dad has been deployed several times. He was finally home. It was just so much defiance, trying to figure out who she was. Maybe that's what it is. Of course, others saw it and shared, and I was just like, oh, it'll get better.
yeah,
I really thought, like, maybe we're just going through this. Maybe she's just going to be the one that's going to give us a little more. You always, every child's so different. But really, I think that we hit a place where we're like, no, and really, I'm so thankful for my husband for coming to me and saying, look, Janice, no, this is not this is not safe for her. It's not safe for us. This Something has to give. And again, that process of waiting, but waiting when you already see the smoke
yes,
building in the house and everyone's feeling it. Your other children are feeling it. Your relationships feeling it. You're trying to keep everyone happy, especially as a mom. At least I'm that mom that I'm a mediator for everyone. Um, and we were right during a PCS, so we had just started the process and then had to stop, had to move, had to get to a new duty station, had to start the process all over again. Get her primary care physician to see her for the first time, go through the story, wait on the TRICARE referral, wait for the appointment because trying to find youth diagnose appointments at psychiatry is not easy.
yeah,
So, it was a process. It was a 6-month process for her to go and get, a diagnosis, and something to share too, I mean, depending on what mood, and I didn't know that at the time, depending on their mood that day could change how their diagnosis is later on. And we received a diagnosis, and it changed. And then now we're kind of still in limbo with a mood disorder, not really understanding what that could turn into still, like just going with the everyday symptoms. And that's scary. And not, you know, I don't even know. Look, guys, I'm going through this still. Like I told you, this is not a straight trajectory journey. This is like literally sometimes it feels like a roller coaster. But definitely, I mean, advocating, they really need. I think I shared with you before we got started, somebody asked me, what could really help? And I said, I am just so thankful. And that other mother that I met at the Barry Robinson Center, we both say this to each other almost every time we talk. We're both so thankful our children have us as an advocate
Yeah.
because takes it takes somebody who's I mean, I haven't been feeling my best through this, but feeling my best, feeling better than my child to really advocate and go and find providers that are going to listen, that are going to understand, that are going to explain things to us. We have gone through quite a bit of different providers from therapists to psychiatrists. Um, and I understand if you're going through this right now, you're like, do I want to start again? My At least my child's very shy and does not like to share a lot. It takes her time to open up to you. She's gonna have to share this all over again. I know she's not gonna like this. Maybe change is difficult for your child. But really the best thing I can say is find that person. They do exist. I promise you. Um, but it's scary. You don't know what you're going through, and the medications, like these are things I've never taken. And if you go on TikTok and you look up, my husband tells me, stop doing that, Janice, stop going on there, because he'll hear the video where I'm listening to other people's reviews. And I have gone down that mental rabbit hole. I'm like, am I doing the right thing for my child? What happens if this is not the right thing? Oh my gosh, like it is just a
Yeah, I
it is
think
so
medications are a whole different type
yeah.
of parent scary. Like
And
like
I don't want to get into it because listen, you really need your provider. They are the
yeah,
best person to give you medical
yeah,
advice. But if this is you right now as a parent going through this and you're just I see it on I did join some other general pages and I see the questions all the time asked. Has your child taken this? As a parent, we just want to know. We want to help
mhm,
our child and we're just trying to figure out. And I wish there was something I wish there was advice I can give you that would make it right. But I just want you to know, I guess coming from this, I just want everyone to know that you're not alone. Really seek out support for yourself. You really need it. Um, I'm still heavily in our military community where I am at, and that fight to be perfect or not perfect, but to feel like you have everything together because you don't want any extra eyes on your service member, and or the questions of like why your child isn't attending things, why do we not see them, why are they not in pictures, like it's no parent wants anything to be wrong with their children, but it is what it is. Like this is our existence here. This
yeah.
happens, and I hate that for us that are going through that. I really do. I'm giving you like, please know that you're getting a big hug from me. Um, right now, I'm on the up from this. It has taken us years to get there and to get the support and to figure things out. Unfortunately, we figured a lot of this out as we went. Um, but really ask questions, get a notebook. I have a notebook right here. Write down everything. It's so hard to remember
Yeah.
everything. Write it down. Have that friend. I have a friend that every morning, this is, I know, a bit extreme, but every morning she texts me, 7 a.m., have a great day. And it came from that because she knew I was so broken in that moment,
Yeah.
and I needed that. Find your people, advocate. It's not going to be an easy journey. I wish I could tell you it was. I know you can share that too. It's not,
It's not.
but there's ways through it. And what you're doing here by bringing this out and for us to be able to share what we're going through with our children is so impactful because it is a fact. I mean, mental
Yeah.
health affects our children too, not just us as adults.
Yeah. So, my passion here is to advocate for mental health. And, I know that sometimes I feel like it's everywhere. Like my my message is everywhere, but honestly, like I think the stigma of mental health, like we've always mentioned, right? It's what I think detains us from being able to seek what we really need. And coming from a place where I have mental health issues based on the trauma that I've experienced, and then also having to navigate through my own and be strong enough to be there to navigate through my kids', mental health journey. And I have 3 kids and they're all, like you said, and they're all different. And everyone has different things going on. And you have to find the strength to be able to be okay, mentally and go through your own things and then see your child go through those things. And it affects everyone so much, and mental health challenges are so important. Mental health is health. And I think I want people to understand that, don't minimize it. So I'm like, oh, I get sad too. No, it's not that, we're not saying that. It's all relative, right? Like everyone's entitled to have bad days and be sad and be happy and be lazy and but it's not that. And I think that's the important part to open up the conversation. Like mental health is way more than that. It's out of our control. It's a chemical imbalance. It's it's real, and it's so impactful. It's like when you have a fever and if the flu and you're on the floor and you can't get up and you literally have no energy or motivation to do anything because your body feels like poop. That
Mhm.
mental health, that's it. Your brain, right? That's how it feels. And it's fighting for its life. It wants to get up. It wants to be happy. It wants to do things. It wants to survive, but it can't, and I want people to understand that, and it affects everyone, like you said, in your home, your other kids, your spouse. Um, I know that we have had some difficult times, my husband and I, navigating through our children's health, right?
Mhm.
Mental health. It takes a toll, you
Yeah,
know? It really does. And if you can't count on each other, you start falling apart and you can't fall apart you can't. Because
yeah,
all
absolutely. At the Barry Robinson Center, with my child being away, the biggest advice I kept giving to all the parents is like, this is your time to reconnect and find yourselves again because it hasn't been an easy journey for anybody. And it is challenging for couples, for siblings, having to explain to them. Sometimes they're feeling like the one that's going through this is getting away with things sometimes that
Mhm.
they wouldn't get away with.
Yeah.
So playing that mediator and really explaining to them, like, no, I think it's so important to also really be open and honest if they're at the age where you can share that.
Yeah.
I know it's really helpful for me to show videos, send them things to read, really bring them in on that, and maybe
Yeah.
even bringing the family in on counseling too, so everyone can openly in a safe environment share with each other how they're feeling, and seeking mental health service for yourself. Listen, I'm going to be the first one to tell you when you're going through this, you're going through so many appointments, right? I am the first one to say that I was not interested in having any more appointments
Yeah.
added onto
The
my
last
list.
thing you want. Yeah.
I am working, I'm trying to keep up with, men management, picking up things, running a
Yeah.
household, having a spouse deployed or gone till late at night in the field. I was like, I don't have time for this. I don't. But really realizing, hey, I think even if it's just for you to have an open sounding board or finding someone that can give you advice on,
Yeah.
I can tell now, like I've learned, I can tell when I'm getting overwhelmed, and I have to be the best I can be because they're really my child's trying to be the best they can be, and they don't always feel their best. So um, it's hard. It takes a toll on everyone. It really does. But realizing as well as yourself that you have to take care of yourself. That you really do. That's the biggest thing that I've also learned. Support. Find your go-to people. Find your go-to people. Find something that makes you happy. I know you shared you love to exercise. That is your thing that you do when you get up in the morning, and that is your thing. I People that know me, I run a local blog for my community. Um, I have heard this, like, I had no idea you're going through this because that was my happy. I
Yeah.
needed that. And when it feels like everything and the walls are closing in, read a book if you're a reader, find some, take a walk. Um, I will be honest, my little puppy is my therapy
Yeah.
sometimes. Find
Yeah.
something in your day, parents, that is really going to bring you joy. But really, you're not alone. This is happening to you, to others, to me. Um, it's hard when you're moving again to places and you have to build up your whole support system again, and you have to answer difficult questions of like why they never see your child in the family photos. um, this isn't a broken leg that's going to get fixed. This is, hopefully you'll find a path through your providers where your child will feel better, but this is a lifelong ongoing
Journey.
thing.
Yeah.
Journey. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Like you said before, it's not like, yeah, it'll get better. I mean, it'll get better, but it's not gonna end, right? It's
Yeah.
something that's there for the long run.
Yeah.
And you have to accept and prepare for that, and that I think that's hard. I think for me, I look at her and I'm like, okay, she's doing better, okay. But then I think like, okay, but this is now, and I start thinking as a parent, like, when she moves out of here, what's gonna happen? I'm the one here micromanaging meds and appointments, and like, will she be able to, manage herself? And what about when she has kids? And, you start
Mhm.
thinking about all those things. And those are just things that, as a parent, it's never going to go away, right? You're a parent forever, no matter how old they get. And no matter how well they're doing, you're always going to worry because the what bad is,
Mhm.
and you know what good is. And so I think you always worry about that. And I think it's important because of that to have a self-care, because you're constantly thinking,
Safety plan, your own self-care safety plan
yes,
is
yeah,
really what the parent safety plan is what it should be called
yeah,
because yes, because
yes,
you really need it, and when you're first starting out or if you experience this, you're just going on adrenaline. you're shocked, you're just trying to help them feel better. And before you've known it, you've gone on 3 years without realizing. Maybe I'm calling myself out a little
Yeah.
bit here. But and so when I give you this advice, it's true advice of somebody who's gone through it themselves. Like it is so critical to make your doctor's appointments for yourself. um, Eat healthy, exercise, do something for yourself. Mine is caffeine right now, but I'm having a little coffee chat with you guys. But no, seriously, doing something for yourself because you need it too. We need to be strong for our children, to be able to
Yes.
advocate for them.
Yep.
Um, and don't stop asking questions. Don't stop asking for resources. Keep going, connect if you can, find somebody else. You're not the only one, I promise. We're strength in numbers as parents. And if there's one thing, we're going to do what we can to help. And sometimes, other families can share resources that you may not know of. If you are still TRICARE affiliated, there is which I just learned about, but there is these case managers that can call and check on you like 30, 60, 90 days, and they'll just make sure that you're getting the appointments that you need. Um, if you are in our age group with our high schoolers, go to JAG. There's some paperwork that you can get. Like these are all things I've learned along the way, but no, seriously, ask questions, seek out others. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
I'm
Ask for
I'm guilty of
help.
that. I'm guilty of that. I
That's
think
why
I can
maybe
do
I'm pointing
everything
to you.
myself. Yeah. I'm like, if I want it done right, I gotta do it myself. I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
bother. But it's true though, because I do believe that. I feel like I do it the best, but you can't
yeah.
do your best when you're overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Like you have to delegate sometimes, like sometimes
Delegate that shopping to your husband. Give him the list. Do
yeah.
this. Do the pickup. Do the
Yeah.
pickup. Have him just open up the trunk and get
Just the
it.
little things. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
But it's true. I'm guilty of that because I hate asking for help. I hate it. I
same.
rather overwhelm myself, you know, but then I'm overwhelmed, right? And overstimulated. And then when I'm really needed, then I'm drained. And so it is important to do that. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
And you've got
Yeah.
so much going on. If you're working like me, you're trying to keep it together, you're trying to keep at least for me, what tires me mentally out is I'm trying to show everything's okay. Everything is
Yeah.
okay. The house is not burning behind me. I
Yeah.
can, I can continue to do my job. I'm smiling. But that's tiring.
It
And
is.
you're a person and you're loved and you need self-care. You need a support system. This is hard. This is hard stuff as
Absolutely.
a parent. I think you and I have both shared, right?
Yes.
When you feel like you can't um, fix your child or you can't make things better, that's a whole other kind of parental stress. So you have to be easy on yourself. Really, we need to stand up as a community and really help our parental caregivers because
Yeah. No,
so it
we
can be a lonely journey.
Yeah, we definitely have to be graceful. Like, we have to give ourselves grace and we have to give others grace because it's so easy to judge. And like I said, you don't know until you're there. It's so easy to think, like, oh, why don't you do this? Or why don't, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But let's be humble and graceful. We don't know what everyone's going through their own struggle, right? And this one is definitely a major one. This one's a major one, and so I
Yeah,
think it's important, for us to be graceful with others and to be graceful with ourselves.
yeah, and thank you for what you're doing by lighting a spotlight on this and having these conversations, and your books are really helpful. They're showing different perspectives. I know when you and I first talked, I think that's why we're like, oh, we found somebody else
Yeah.
like us. Like, oh my God, you understand.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I can be myself. I can tell you that I'm having a horrible, good, bad day,
Yeah.
and you get it, and you get
You
it.
won't
Like,
judge me.
yes.
Yeah.
And
No,
just
abs
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm so grateful to have met you too. It's funny how life works, right? And I guess I'm grateful for social media as well. But
yeah.
yeah, and that was that was the purpose behind my books. So there's more to come this year, guys. I have more
Mhm.
coming. But yeah, because mental health is so hard to explain to kids, right? And so that's why the initial book was, how my kids saw me dealing through my mental health journey as children, like they didn't understand and they thought I was always angry and I didn't love them and and to see how that affected them and their perspective, right? And so I thought so many other kids must probably feel the same way and so many other parents and it's like you said, there's a certain age where you can explain what's going on and and it's difficult to find the vocabulary and especially in certain and younger ages. And so that was my trial and that was my tribute to my mental health journey. and
Thank you
um
for
and
sharing.
so for this year I have the hopefully the bipolar. Yeah, the bipolar story of, navigating that, and that's gonna be a children's book too, and how, how Kaylee came and, let us know and how we navigated through that and what that looked like, but I want it to be in a younger age, so, it can be a resource for families that are going through that, so it could help explain to the other kids in their home what really is going on.
Yeah.
And the epilepsy one too, since my other one's epileptic, that also took a toll on the family, so that's the other one that I'm working for this year. So yeah, that's my goal. I just want to really open up the conversation and be an advocate and try to give as much make as many resources available as I can because
Love it.
um even when the mental health, the PTSD before the bipolar, I didn't have the words to explain to my youngest, she was afraid of her sister because she didn't understand the fits and the rage and why she was behaving the way she was and she was literally afraid of her and I felt so sad, and I didn't have the means and I always wish like I wish there was like a child's journal or a children's book that, they could see pictures and understand like what's going on at their level, we didn't have that. And so
Yeah.
that's how that became one of my goals to try to create that. So hopefully it's it's helping people.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I hope it really is a benefit.
Hey, this conversation is definitely it is reaching, and just to have the start of this conversation is so impactful, and that's what we're here for. And I'm
Yeah.
so thankful for you for our cross being path
Yeah.
on social media. Thank you to Instagram
Yeah.
for setting us up as
Yes.
as new besties now,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, Thank you so much. Like, this means the world to me, and I'm so glad that for the first time I was able to really openly share this, like, with so many of you. I share one on
Yeah.
one, but I think I shared with you this is the first time publicly in this format. And if I was going to do it with anybody, I'm glad it's with you. So,
Thank you. That means so much to me. I was just gonna say, I appreciate that you chose my platform to be the first time that you share with the world. Like it means so much to me because this is really like my goal. I just want to create awareness and open the conversation and I'm so grateful for you to be willing to do that with me. And I'm grateful to be able to be a part of that for you and everyone else. Oh my
I
God.
know,
I'm
because
crying.
it's
It's
so
just so important.
heavy. It's
Yeah.
so heavy, and it
It,
can feel so isolating as a parent, and all we wanna do is make everything better for our children,
yeah.
and we're trying to figure out how to do it, and
Yes.
finding others who understand. You have no idea. If you're going to you're like, "I need you, Janice. I need you, Bianca." Like,
Yeah.
"I need a friend that understands." I get it.
Yes. And
So
this is, yeah, this is the way. And like I've mentioned before, and I say it all the time, if any of you need anything, even just to talk, to vent, you want to message me, you want to reach out, you whatever, I'm here. I don't know how many people I've just little texts here and there, and it makes me feel so much better to know that I can be there for someone, even if you don't know me, and just to know that you feel safe enough to reach out. Because I know so many times I wish I had someone, and I didn't feel that way.
yeah,
And I think that's the most important part, to know that you feel supported, and you're not alone. And so yeah, so if any of you, for any reason, whether this topic or any other topic, feel like you need to reach out, I'm always here. I'm always available. I might be busy sometimes and time gets the best of me, but I always am here for you guys. And so, for you, Janice, I appreciate you so much. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to have met you and have another support
champion.
system in you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 We've got to be each other's champions when we're
Yeah,
going
for
through
sure.
this.
Yes.
And I can feel each and every one of your love for your children if you're going through this. I really wish you the best and keep it going. Like our
Thank
children
you.
need us during this time. So
Yeah, for
thank
sure.
you for letting me share
Yeah,
like
no,
a
definitely.
raw piece of my family with you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. And before we wrap up today, is there anything else that you want to share, or make sure everybody knows, that you think is important or necessary, I guess?
Yeah. You know, this isn't like I've said it. I hate for you to hear me again. This is a
No. Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
This is a journey, and this is one that's so it's so individual. You know what your child's going through may not be like what the next is going through, and you're doing a great job. Keep asking questions. Get that journal. Write down
Yes.
what they said, who you visited with, because it can be overwhelming. But our children need us, and this is a topic, and sharing, just being brave like I just was, to share with others so they understand. Um, and just loving on our kids and letting them know that they're loved and they are wanted here, and we need them to be a part of
Yes.
our lives is so important. Yes, because that's so needed. But yes, definitely. You can find me also on my suitcase streams. I am on Instagram. I am trying to share the love because listen, life can be hard. But definitely, just like you said, reach out to us and let's continue this conversation
Yes.
for our military families and beyond because we really need that as parents and family members for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for sharing your story again. I'm very grateful. And thank you for being there for everyone. And you guys should follow her page. It's so cute. I watch you and I'm like, I want to be like you.
Aw,
You're
thank you.
so
Thank
you're so
you.
fun and outgoing, and I'm just like
No, no, no. Like I said, you've got to find something that brings you joy during this
Yeah,
journey. It can be really
yeah,
hard. And writing and showcasing amazing people in my community in the Fort Liberty area is what is my own therapy. So
yeah, yeah. Well, it looks amazing. I love it. I love to watch your posts and your reels and everything. I love it. So you guys should follow. It's really
thank
cool.
you.
And if you
Yeah.
live in that area, definitely even more. I watch it. I'm like, I can't even do any of these things. I'm like all the way over here. I
I need
wish.
to do more travel tips. I'll do more travel tips.
One day, right?
I think we need to have a Moto Bunny meetup, I said. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah, for
Yes, for
sure.
sure. We gotta plan that. hopefully
Yeah.
we can make that happen sometime soon. But yeah, well, thank you again. Thank you for
Thank you.
everything. Thank you for your time. And thank you everybody for tuning in and watching and listening. Remember to drink your celery juice, make moto moves, get out there and get your free therapy, move your body, okay? Exercise is free therapy. Yes. Hugs to all of you. Hugs to you, Janice. Thank you for
Thank
everything
you.
again, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.